Well, hello, and welcome to Stop Let's Team Up, episode 109. DC Comics presents 45, Superman and Firestorm. This is the one you all picked. And so me and David, say hi, David.
Hello, everyone. Good to hear you, or whatever. Hello.
David was kind enough to volunteer to cover this. I don't remember if I've ever read this. I probably did because I had a complete run when I was a kid, but that was 40 years ago. So it's not in my memory. But we're going to cover DC Comics presents with Superman and Firestorm. I'm going to give you some pertinent data from Mike's Amazing World. It was cover dated May 1982. On sale date, February 4th, 1982. It cost 60 cents, 32 pages. Edited by Julie Schwartz. It is called The Chaos Network. Features Superman and Firestorm. Written by Gerry Conway. Pencils by Rick F. Buckler. Inker, Robert Allen Smith. Letterer, Ben Oda. Colorist, Eugene D'Angelo. It has been reprinted twice in DC Comics Presents The Superman Team-Up Years, Volume 2, and Superman's Greatest Team-Ups 2021. Wow. This is Firestorm last appeared in Justice League 200 and next appears in Justice League 202. And same with Martin Stein, the two halves of Firestorm. So you're reading it on the original, and I'm reading it on the app.
I have my copy of the original. I'd never read this before.
So both of us are kind of going in blind, I guess, because I don't remember reading it before.
Nice Ross Andrew cover.
It is. It's
quite big, but it's all right.
It's up. Sometimes they just don't give people. I think sometimes the covers, like Andrew was probably doing half the DC covers on some months.
Sure.
And Giacoa, I don't think, right inker, right penciler. It's a tricky balancing act, but I like it. It's, you got the new big villain called Kriss Kross. I like that someone on the interwebs, when we posted the cover, had Kriss Kross. So if you go to the Instagram where I'm says homework, and I have the cover in the first page, that Kriss Kross song is playing over the pictures.
Yes. Jump. That's the
jump.
One.
Yep.
That was funny. That was a laugh. Yeah.
But it's a very old fashioned kind of comic book cover. Two heroes filing at the bad guy, and someone's talking. There's dialogue. You heroes are going to learn something right now. Never cross. Kriss Kross.
It's a very 70s Marvel cover, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Well, wasn't this? I mean, even at this point, I think DC Comics Presents of the two DC team up books is the most trying to do a Marvel team up book.
Agreed. I think that's fair.
It is very. This is more Marvel team up than it is Brave and the Bold.
Yeah, I would say so. It's it feels like it just could be any day in the life of the headline character, be it Supes or Spidey or whatever.
Yeah, he's flying from he's flying from one major Superman adventure to another for this little crap, man. I'm just trying to get across town to eat dinner.
Yeah, and it's and this is literally just before they launch The Fury of Firestorm, volume 2 of the second Firestorm ongoing. So it's basically just a promotional one for that, in the same way that Team Up would quite often be a promotional one for, say, or maybe I should think about it too, getting Killraven involved or something like that, or getting the X-Men involved, just to kind of plug whatever else is going on.
They're tryout books. I mean, they were really just better made tryout books. It's like a backdoor pilot in like a TV show, like Star Trek when they do Assignment Earth.
Yeah.
It's just a backdoor pilot. Yeah. And I want to, my Firestorm history is I read all this stuff because my brother is a huge Gerry Conway fan, right, and an Al Milgrom fan. And Al Milgram's really important to Fire. So is this after the little mini episodes? Like when Firestorm was a backup on something for a while?
Yeah, he was a backup in The Flash.
That's it. And it was Conway and Perez and then Conway and Milgrom, right?
Yeah. He's as we say, he's involved in the Justice League. So he had his 5 issues of his own book. Then he's in DC Comics Presents issue 17, which Peter, hi Peter, if you're listening, was raving about when I said we were going to be talking about DCP featuring Firestorm. Because as Peter pointed out, when when he's in DC Comics Presents issue 17, that's only his 6th appearance. And that finishes with Superman inviting him to join the Justice League. So he's in Justice League quite regularly, for basically more or less up until the series finishes.
Well, it doesn't hurt that the guy that's writing Justice League created you.
Yeah, right.
I mean, but no, because who created? Was it Al Milgrom was the original artist on the first series, right?
Yeah.
And when they brought it back, they gave it to Perez.
Yeah.
Which was fucking because Perez had been drawing him in Justice League.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Milgrom might have shifted to Marvel by that point. I'm not sure.
But did he start the Fury Firestorm? Wasn't that him? Or was that Pat? Oh, it's Pat Broderick.
Yeah. Because there's a lot, I heard a lot of chat about, but wait a minute, there is a house ad, actually.
Yeah, and you showed me, and that's Pat Broderick.
Yeah, Gerry Conway and Pat Broderick, you're right, yeah.
Is it Broderick or Broderick?
Yeah. Brand new exploits of Dynamic DC's most popular hothead by Gerry Conway and Pat Broderick, coming your way monthly. You wanted him, you got him, but now what are you going to do with him? Buy him. We need the money. That's a very Marvel line. First new issue on sale, March the 4th. So that's the week of my birthday.
Oh, that was a good series.
I have collected a full run of it over the years, but I've never read it. Obviously, I've never read it.
I think very highly of Pat Broderick.
Right.
I think he did a lot of really good. He did a lot of his Legion was really good. His Micronauts was really good.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I think Captain Atom was the first time that I read that he was involved in.
He did that book too. Yeah, that was a good book.
Yeah.
But so let's. There is not a synopsis in Mike's Amazing World, and there's a very short one in the DC Wiki, which says Superman and Firestorm are posed by Kriss Kross, a terrorist whose body fused with high-tech equipment he was stealing to give him superpowers. So, I like it on the first page that you don't get the titles to the second page. And for a second, I thought it was Swan.
I can see that.
That Superman flying at the plane on the bottom panel looks like Swan.
That really does.
But then you get to the other one, and I went, oh, it's Rick Buckler.
Yeah.
What is your take on Rick Buckler? Are you a Buckler fan?
I like him a lot. I mean, obviously, he was the first artist in All Star Squadron, so definitely a fan. I think he's great when he's inked well. Yeah, I think a lot of people used to write him off as a Neil Adams copyist, but I think he's a good dynamic storyteller.
And he's got a little bit of everybody in him. He's got some Jack in him. When he did his FF is good. People bash on it. I like him better than John Romita Jr. on it. I find John Romita Jr.'s art on FF very jarring.
John Romita. I mean, what vintage of John Romita Jr. is that?
No, I'm talking John Romita Sr. Because he was jumping before John Buscema did it for a short stretch. It was him and John, and I find his art. It was like it didn't look right to me.
Right. Okay.
But I like Rick Buckler's on it. You got to give him a good inker.
Yeah, I think.
And I like Bob Smith, but I don't think he does. I think at times he doesn't do the inking's a little.
I think they both do a great job. I'd never read this comic before, and I rattled through it, and I loved it. It was very satisfying, brilliant one and done. The artwork was great. Yeah, a lot of stuff in it. Yeah,
there's he can do action.
Yeah, that first flash of Clark flying through the plane is tremendous.
Yeah, for a second I thought he was crazed and he was killing people.
Yeah,
it was like.
Yeah, it was one of those two. Yeah.
I do like how they had above the banner. I forgot about this. They did this every once in a while where they have both the little captions for each hero and their logo and who they're created by. And I like the Gerry Conway and Al Milgrom get, because this is early with that. That wasn't done. This is after Siegel and Schuster getting sued and other creators going, if you're going to put their name on it, and I want a little piece.
Yeah. Actually, it can't have been too long after this that they probably started putting names on the covers, I imagine.
A couple of years. I think that was one of the best things I ever did for comics was to put the creators on the cover.
Yeah.
But I do like that, and I like his Superman. I really like his Superman, especially when you're up close, because he has his own Superman. I think he's not trying to be Kurt Swan.
Yeah, there's definitely, as you're saying, especially in the first page, there's a touch of the Kurt Swans to him, but it's not slavishly trying to do a Kurt Swan. I
No,
mean,
no.
facially, it's very different from Kurt. Um, I like the face. I mean, there's a couple of panels here and there, but it does that Neil Adams thing of sort of looking up someone, the Gil Kane Neil Adams thing of looking up someone's nose.
Yeah, I never
But
understood that.
cool. I mean, I think there's a touch of the Keith Giffen to some of it as well. The Superman, he's the faces and stuff. There's one I can't remember the issue. There's a Keith Giffen Superman cover where he's sort of being held in chains, and I was reminded of that
Okay.
Superman quite a
Early,
lot.
early Kurt Keith Giffen, right? That
Yeah,
kind of early style.
mids period sort of Keith. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
I liked it when he did those. He did a couple DC Comics presents when they were using like Doom Patrol, which I've already covered, and Legion of Substitute Heroes.
Yeah.
Ambush Bug.
Of course.
But I love it. It's called the Chaos Network, and I love the little footnote that Gerry Conway puts at the bottom. With apologies to Claire Sterling and her brilliant book, The Terror Network. Okay. I'll Google. I didn't Google it, but I'll probably Google it at some point.
Yeah.
But I love that splash page and this whole action with the jet plane and the bad guy.
Yeah.
And, there's the next page is the guys that stole the equipment that I told you about. He's in the back of the jet, and the pilot's like going, the Russian pilot's going, suit yourself, my friend. But as they taught us at Patrice Lumumba University in Moscow, sometimes you cut your losses and run, and he ejects them both.
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite a James Bond sort of style dynamic sort of.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And the ejector seats out the airplane, and Clark flying past them. They're up at a high altitude, and they're being watched by the Navy underneath.
I love it. Yeah, I'll use my super breath to blow his parachute right to this aircraft carrier that is way behind me. That's a very DC superpower. My brain, I can,
It's great.
But I like it. I like the Navy guys. They're all dressed like Shirley Temple, not like real sailors. It's just kind of. Is it blue? Are they in blue uniforms in the one you're reading?
Yes.
Okay, that's not right. They don't wear blue. They wear black or white. They look like they're wearing little French schoolgirl outfits to me.
Interesting. Yeah.
But that was just the Navy brat in me. But I like that section with the aircraft carrier and the way that the two people parachuting. He's not going for detail. I liked it. I thought that was a really nice panel. Yeah. I like them in the lens of the photograph. He did that's a very Rick Buckler getting struck by lightning.
Yes, brilliant.
I've seen that.
Again, it's another great Marvel style supervillain origin.
Yeah, it is not a DC origin.
It's struck by lightning, fusing with his technology. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Marvel science and DC superpowers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
But I like that.
I like Soup's flying to his rescue. I mean, because that's another Soup's grabbing the across whatever his name is. That looks a bit Kurt Swan to my eyes as well. Just the.
Oh, when he's holding him or when he's flying to catch him. Yeah, that's a patented Kurt Swan flying pose. And I think a lot of people emulate him because I think he does it better than a lot of people. Because his Legion, when he's showing all those kids fly, it always looks good.
Yeah.
I wait for the hair fly off there. But what gets me on this page is, but I like it, is the guy's got like a Betamax fused to his chest. And he's dying, and Superman's, "You're not dead yet, friend. And with the proper medical treatment, you may still live to stand trial for treason."
Yeah.
God, man, the dude's dying. Come on, you hold off on the treason and hanging shit until later.
Yeah. And it's one of those ones where, like, it takes Clark, obviously, in real time, that would have taken about 10 minutes to say all that, from catching the guy and flying down to the ship and speaking to the others and then getting them dealt with, That's quite funny the way it just sort of he says that over 3 panels.
Maybe he did. Maybe he flew. You know how when he flew at certain speeds, he'd wrap Lois up so she didn't be burned up. Maybe he didn't care if this guy got a little suntan on the way down. But
no,
then,
because he's stealing this technology. He's a bad guy.
yeah, I just
It's
it's a very it's not something, it's just it's really like, wow, man, you're gonna go there to treason? That was fast.
yeah,
But then what I like is we get to see Firestorm and another hero created in the aftermath of a nuclear explosion that fused Ronnie Raymond and Professor Martin Stein into one composite being. He is the nuclear man, Firestorm. That's a great panel of Firestorm.
yeah. I've been trying to remember the first time I encountered Firestorm, and I don't think he must have been. He must have been. It must have been in one of the last issues of JLA that I had as a really young kid. Is it a Doctor Destiny story? Is he involved in that? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's 200.
I'm thinking it must have been earlier than that, but I don't know because I remember when issue 1 of Legends came out, or reading that sort of tail end of must have been during 1986, I think.
Yeah.
But maybe tail end of 86. And there's that scene at the start where Brimstone's created and Ronnie's in the shower and Martin sort of makes them sort of combine, and Ronnie's like, oh no. And I remember reading that and knowing who Firestorm was.
I think that's
I'm not
200.
sure the first time I met him. I'm not sure the first time I encountered him.
I think the one you're talking about with the shot. I got it. I'm seeing the panel in my head.
Yeah,
and I just can't. I got him. I'm my first. My brother handed me number 1.
all right, cool.
Yeah. Oh, he's Gerry Conway. My brother. I love Gerry Conway. And Al Milgrom. He liked Al Milgrom art. I used to bust on Al Milgrom, and I think unfairly because they would give him Vinnie Coletta to ink him.
Yeah,
which was criminal.
Right.
But I like his run on Avengers with Steve Englehart. I think the art's I think it's Marvel. It's not. People might look at it and go, it's behind its time. I'm thinking that's a well-told comic book. It is. I like it, and I liked his Firestorm.
Yeah.
He got to ink himself a bit on that, I think.
It's a great costume design. I mean, it's been pointed out elsewhere that his sort of headdress is basically pinched from Light Ray of the New Gods, but I know that Grant Morrison compared him to sort of a Rio carnival dancer, but it's a very interesting costume. I think they made a real effort to make him look different to other heroes.
Yeah, I did too. I thought it was like they're trying to be more modern, and this is late 70s modern. I know what he means about the dancer is when the pant legs are all blousy.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like I didn't understand that. It was definitely I like this costume. I like the piping. I like the logo. I love the characters. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about that. I really think Ronnie Raymond and Martin Stein are well-formed characters. Jerry gave them, you care about them, and whoever wrote them, it's kind of like I was in the comic shop today. I'm talking to Pat at Velocity Comics. Go to Velocity Comics, folks. They're great. Pat's a great guy. And we were talking about omnibuses and stuff like that. And I've been thinking about starting getting all the post-crisis. Flash is pretty much available in omnibus form right now.
Okay.
All the Wade. They're doing the first Baron Messerlobes one. And right. I said, I want all the Flash ones that don't kill me and don't tell Pete, so he will kill me. Is because I really love that era because it's Wally, who's my Flash.
Yeah, I'm the same.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Peter, if you're listening, but he knows this. I mean,
I forgot that you were like me. I think Barry has to be written right. I'm just going to put it that way.
I love Barry, but Wally was, when I was at 19, 20 and deciding, right, I'm giving up. I'm just going to be a comic book geek for the rest of my life. I was started reading Mark Waid's Year One, and it was great. I'm Wally West and the Fast Man Alive, and the first 3 or 4 years of Mark's run on Flash with Wally was outstanding. I'm one of these people that sort of thinks, that it was a mistake to bring Barry back, and
I do too. I think he was a better character dead.
Yeah, and the Silver
you could tell flashback stories.
Yeah, Silver Age Flash stuff is phenomenal. It's great. There's an innocence to Barry Allen that no other character has.
But I think Bronze Age Barry is very dull.
Yes, I would agree with that.
I think it's dull. I think Carmine's not doing the book justice.
Yeah,
John,
he's a man.
late career Infantino sometimes could be. It's a paycheck.
Yes, strong agree. Not a fan.
Um,
Look at, if you look at some of the Star Wars and Dial H for Hero stuff, it's really boxy.
it makes me dizzy. It's just
But
all the angles are weird, and
yeah, you're
but
right.
these
You're
characters are
right.
great, and I think Conway wrote it a lot. Who wrote it later when he was? Because it got
Oh,
really weird in the late '80s.
yeah, when he's on trial and all that sort of stuff. I can't remember. I've not read for a long.
Yeah. So, but what did you
But yeah,
think of?
I was just going to say, like, I agree with you. I think Firestorm works really well because it's quite a unique sort of idea where you've got the college jock and the professor, and they form this gestalt entity. And I've always liked the thing with Martin being the voice in his head and all this sort of stuff. I remember in the early 2000s on the DC Comics message boards when people were sort of saying, "Wouldn't it be great if we got a Firestorm action figure and they could make a little translucent Martin's head?"
Oh my God, that'd be damn. That's a good idea. I like that. You should write that in a Hasbro. Maybe they'll give you a free one.
Tell Todd McFarlane the next time we're speaking to him. Our pal Logan, I'll give Logan a shout out if he's listening. Logan, who voices all the young heroes for us on the Up 2 podcast, he just bought a Todd McFarlane Animal Man figure when he was down in London at the weekend, and it's huge.
Some of them are big. I shared the pictures with Kirby, and he says I am the only one who's jealous of these two figures. Someone buying those two figures at the same time. I bought a Nighthawk and a Catman 6-inch.
I didn't know there was a Catman figure. Wow.
Neither did I, and that's why it was like I'm spending money. I shouldn't because it's Catman.
I've got a Marvel Legends Nighthawk. I love Nighthawk as a defender.
I do too. I think he's misunderstood. That people they think he's a creepy guy, and it's like, no, he's a guy that's lost, and he's bad with women and every other people because he's trying to be. So he's trying to be Batman, and the idea of trying to be a Batman kind of superhero is kind of like messed up. I like him, but what I like about Stein and Ronnie and what Conway does, I'm glad he's writing this comic because you get to see this, is there's a real relationship between these two guys. They care about each other.
Yes.
And there's a father-son thing that as you get longer and longer in that book, and I think some of the bigger mistakes they ever did was to not have it be Ronnie and Stein.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think that's what makes the character unique. That because even though Ronnie has a family, but you know what I mean? The professor gets him.
Thing doesn't have a son, and and it's a tendency, it's a fact as you become, as you get older as a man, like, you might, I mean, I don't have any kids of my own, but I'm work dad to loads of people.
Oh, my agents call me Pop.
Because I'm that much older than them, you know what I mean? Yeah. And sometimes I have to be work dad, otherwise we don't get anything done,
Yeah, no, I got you.
It's a fact of male relationships that you fall into sort of certain forms. If you're an older male, a younger male, a dynamic sort of develops. I mean, when I was younger, I had sort of like older friends who you defer to them, they keep an eye on you, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I had the older guys, and I posted recently, found pictures of my dad and me. And what rare one where like I'm a grown man. I'm graduating high school. Technically, I'm a grown man. I could drink, whatever. But me and him with the big arms around, walking with our arms around each other, smiling.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh. But I'm one of those people, like someone asked me, goes, I'm a big fan of Field of Dreams. And the book, I've read the book, and I read the books. I'm a big fan of the writer, W.P. Kinsella. He writes about fathers and sons. A lot of his books are about what part of my dad I carry on.
Sure.
Am I like him?
Sure.
Oh, but I'm only remembering the shit that I didn't like about him when I was a kid and didn't understand what a grown-up does. I won't say a man, but a grown-up. And I cry at those moments. I'm a sentimental crier. Something sentimental, and you hit that note, I'm done. But and that's what I like about this character, because you believe, especially in his own book, you believe Ronnie and him have that relationship.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a little cartoony in this one because they're doing like the superhero hijinks and getting out of trouble and
uh no, but it's I quite like the there was, I think, as one thing I've always liked is the way when they sort of, when one of them's in, like I mentioned that Ronnie being in the shower. I always like when they're slightly inconvenienced at the transformation. Like there's a moment in DCP number 17 when Ronnie's in the middle of a basketball game and Martin starts to kind of trigger the change and Ronnie has to run off the pitch. I love all that sort of stuff. It's interesting actually. We should mention that I think they translated to television very well.
I do too. I'm a
Um,
fan. I'm a fan of Legends of the DC universe,
yeah,
especially when they season 2 and they went,
yeah,
fuck it, let's
yeah,
get weird. Let's
yeah.
have a giant stuffed animal. And
I watched I think the first 3 or 4 seasons of it, and I gave up because Firestorm left, obviously, and Rip Hunter left. It kind of got away, and fewer and fewer, costume superheroes actually in it. It was good they got the Constantine guy back and gave him another crack. But do you remember when they killed Martin off? I think it was in Crisis on Earth X. It was devastating. It was done so well because he's with Jefferson by that point. He's not with Ronnie.
yeah,
Uh,
I like Jefferson.
and they were amazing together. I remember watching that particular episode of that crossover, and you're talking about crying. I was bawling. Legend.
The actor that played Martin. Jesus Christ, he's an incredibly famous American actor.
Yes, he's in loads of stuff, isn't he?
Well, he was the original Jesus in Godspell.
Oh, I
He's a
didn't know that.
musical theater guy. Yeah, he is a musical theater guy.
He's in Titanic, isn't he?
Yeah, he's the guy that designed the ship.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm gonna have to Google that while we talk. But I like it's nailed. I like that version, and I think I bailed when you bailed.
Yeah.
I was when they got less, but I liked Steel and
they created a new character. They made him Colossus, basically.
Yeah, they did. But I liked but I thought the interaction, Brandon, whatever, Roush, I loved him as Alan, as Palmer.
Their relationship was brilliant. I remember one of the last ones I watched was, I think they met Ray's mum when she was younger or something. Was it the one with George Lucas? That
where they're trying to make sure George Lucas becomes.
Yeah. That was when it was around about then that I just kind of stopped watching it, and I kind of half paid attention. I watched it occasionally for a while after that. But no, it's such a good character. It really is.
His name's Victor Garber.
That's him. And as you were sort of saying, this is another. I mean, this is really just an advertisement for the fact that the ongoing series was going to be starting, that Volume 2 was going to be starting. But this works as well as as we said at the top of it. This is a great sort of backdoor pilot for a series that's already been greenlit in a way.
Oh yeah, it's to get people ready for it. It's a big ad.
This one's also got Ronnie at a basketball match as well, which is good. Because it's got that Marvel Lanks thing of real life getting in the way of the superheroics. Ronnie's coach is out because he's not paying attention to the game and all that sort of thing. That's very Marvel.
Well, Gerry, I think that's what Gerry and Len brought with them, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Like, we're going to have a little more continuity than you're used to.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to do a little more of the soap opera.
Yeah.
But I don't have a problem. I like the coach. I like the whole sequence.
Took DC a long time to catch up to Marvel and all that sort of stuff. You can sort of see some of the Green Lantern Arrow stuff when there's Legion's probably the first book to really have that sort of.
And that's why I covered it. And I think I said in the early episodes of my Legion coverage was that stuff with Shooter Swan. I mean, Shooter did it.
Yeah.
They had the relationships. What I like too is this: we're about to have 3 pages of him at a basketball, two full pages almost of him playing basketball and just doing something in daily life and thinking of, word balloons. He's thinking about the professor. So,
No, it's great. I mean, it takes a really long time for the villain on the cover to properly sort of show up and, start causing trouble. I mean, that's what Ronnie changing back and they're on page 10. And, the villain hasn't really even, have we seen the villain yet? I don't think we have.
No, that comes on page 13 or 14, because then we go to Martin Stein being, he's been arrested by the feds. Because he knew the guy and the stuff came from his lab.
Yeah, that's good. that was really good because you sort of think, right, Martin's in trouble and they're aware that he keeps disappearing at odd moments and all this sort of stuff.
Oh no, it's like I would be a little more free. You live in a universe with superheroes.
Yeah.
And there's no way he got by the two dudes sitting at their desk right outside the door. So, whoa, we got a superhero on our problem. And probably, I mean, who knows? I would think if there's energy being expended of him disappearing, you'd feel a little heat, little wind, he disappeared.
Yeah, yeah.
So then you see him flying with the little floating head. I love the floating head on page 12.
Yeah, I mean, but you're right. That bit on page 11 is literally the guy turns around and Martin is vanished from the chair. That bit's brilliant.
Oh yeah, double take.
Amazing. That's some really good craft there. That's really good.
Yeah.
But hang on. Still no sign of the bad guy.
No. I do like that they have an aircraft carrier.
I don't see him till page 21. Fucking hell.
Oh yeah. The shit that makes him you see stuff happening that makes him a bad guy. He turns into it. As a Navy kid, my dad was Marine, but Navy in the family was the USS Rayburn, which isn't a real ship, but I know who it's named after. Which is, I don't know. But there are people named after aircraft carriers, like the bad guys. Well, there's a book by Forrester. There is a Forrestal. It's weird. It's weird. I thought they called it the Kitty Hawk earlier, and now they're calling it something else. But
yeah, boy, can this guy Forrester write? What does that say? Beat the something in the title of the book, page 12.
Beat to quarters.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's probably some really terrible airplane or beach book of the era.
Yeah.
It's the Da Vinci Code or the Jason Bourne books or something.
Urban Allen will make the movie.
But then, they're on the aircraft carrier, and then something starts to happen in the sick bay where the guy's reading the book.
Yeah,
and it blows up the bridge.
Yeah, these pages are cracking.
Yeah, they are
very dynamic. And it's interesting because it's a huge part of the story developing without any involvement for either the superheroes at all.
No, I mean it's whole.
Cripps is barely in it for ages of it. And it's I mean I think that's if the whole thing felt very atypical, because Clark disappears on page 6, and here we are up to page
13,
14, and there's no sign of him.
Yeah.
But there's some. But when he does come back, that is glorious.
Yeah, I do like this where the ship's exploding and all this, and then the guy steals the plane.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying about the sort of Neil Adams, Gil Kane up the nose shot of the last panel.
Yeah. I do like, I'm seeing some poses that I know, like one of the guys running, and I'm seeing stuff that I'm going to see later in All-Star Squadron.
Sure.
The way he draws. Dude, buy a book of pictures of uniforms, please.
Yeah.
I mean, but I liked it. I like his panel layout. I want to say he plays with shapes, and it's not unnecessary. It's like, I just need to give you a cutaway of aircraft carrier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
I think that's the Neil Adams influence in it.
Yeah.
But it's great. As Peter would say, hi Pete, if you're listening, all the sort of tilts and and angles and stuff. It breaks it up. It's a very dynamic read. There's real care in each panel and each page. It's there's no flat, boring panels at all. I love Firestorm flying through the wall of WGBS.
Okay, I want to ask you something because they don't know each other's secret identities. When did the Justice League? When did they share? Because I know it's a story where it happens that you have to tell them your identity if you're a member.
I'm not sure.
But you know what I'm talking about? Am I crazy? Or is that a real thing?
Peter would know. Peter, if you're listening, phone in immediately and tell me. There are stories when they lose their masks and all this sort of stuff. And
I know when it is. It's when the secret society
Yeah,
Super villains. Yeah, it's that story after
so
that where they
that's
all had to tell each other's identity. They found out each other's identities, so they had to share them.
that's round about issue 167, 168.
So maybe it's only the people in that story that did it. New members aren't required to tell. I
But
don't
obviously,
know.
Barry and Hal are going to know each other's IDs and stuff. Soups is going to know Batman, obviously.
Yeah, because they haven't decided they're not friends, and then decided they're friends, and then decided they're not friends.
Yeah.
So there's a coloring error on the digital copy. Does he have a white back?
Which
Is the
panel?
back of Firestorm in the third panel on 15 uncolored?
No, it's yellow.
It's white here.
His belt's white, and the rest of his tunic's yellow as normal.
Nope. That's weird. How do you mess
Oh,
up the digital copy? But I like this scene. I like his Clark. He's got Clark down.
Yeah, it's very funny. It's when he sends Ronnie to look for have a look in the cupboard, and then turns around and Clark gets changed, and you see Soups putting Clark's gear into the pocket in his cape, which is a really nice little subtle sort of touch. I remember that from an issue of Super Friends that I read when I was a little boy, that that's where he stashed his stuff.
Oh, this is where they tell each other. Well, at least Superman tells him who he is.
This is just a closet. I never said it wasn't. What happened to Kent? Try using your head for more than a campfire, son. You mean that's glorious? And then Clark says, as they fly, or Soup says, I should say, as a member of the Justice League, your attempt to know your fellow members' secret identities someday it may save both of our lives. Amazing. That's
But I would have liked them to add the little floating head of Stein going, Ronnie.
That's true. Yeah.
I do like. Then they're gonna a Poseidon nuclear submarine. Okay, that's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Size of an aircraft carrier.
Right.
But we get more fighter jets, and I don't like the action is really good. And we're on page 17. No villain.
I know. Soups has just come back in, and it's like he's been away for
10 pages.
10 pages. That's crazy.
But I do like all this action.
Yeah, and that's a very. I mean, I love the layout of page 17. Look at the officer's face in panel 3 of page 17. That's brilliant.
Yeah, it is. That's a very Neil Adams face.
Yeah, it looks really good.
It does look good. I like the missiles and Superman going super fast. So the sonic boom blows up the missiles. That's good. I love it when Superman does shit like that.
I love that bit. That was amazing. He's just so casual about it as well. But that first panel on page 18 when he's flying after the missiles looks so cool. And then the trying to make the submarine dive in time. Then, as you say, the sonic boom. That's just glorious.
Oh, he freezes the nuclear fallout. He freezes the nuclear fallout and throws it in his face.
I was surprised that he didn't get Rory just to transmute it into something non-threatening. Transform it into just water. Maybe we'd get a nice rainbow over the sea or something. But it lets sort of Ronnie sort of like be impressed by Superman as he hurls it into out of the atmosphere. And as we turn the page, I don't know if do you get house ads on a digital copy?
No, that makes me mad.
Yeah, well, between pages 18 and 19, you get there's a full page house ad that has at the top Saga of the Swamp Thing issue 1, and then as I said earlier on, Fury of Firestorm by Conway and Broderick getting punted in the bottom half. Yeah, I'll send you a photograph of it so you can tweet it or whatever.
Oh, cool. I'd like that. And now it's going to make me go on the app later tonight and read some of these. Because it was a great comic, folks. If you've never read it, I understand why people are big fans of him. If this was one of my first superheroes, and that Gerry Conway, Pat Broderick series was coming out, I'd have read it it ran for 100 issues. That's
for the longest time the only issue I had was the one that Phantom Stranger guest starred in. But over a couple of years, I remember being really jammy with an eBay auction, someone selling practically not a full set, but a massive amount of it they started at a really low price and no one else bid on it, so I got it for buttons. My friend Mick who's on the socials as Karloff87. He's done a couple of voices for us in Earth 2. Hi, Mick, if you're listening. He's massive on Firestorm. And I was able to furnish him with a couple of numbers that he didn't have at one point a few years ago. That was pretty cool. Mick's also a voice for us in the upcoming Seven Soldiers of Victory story on the Earth 2 podcast.
I can't wait for that. I'm so excited. I'm so excited.
Ross is playing King. Is it King Misty Brain?
Yes, King Misty Brain.
Can't wait.
He needs some help getting rid of unwelcome house guests. That's kind of his point in the plot. Yeah.
And Shag is playing the other king.
Is he?
Yeah. Of course. And then there's an episode. The vigilante story has two sort of opposing armies. And the opening caption talks about a weird war. So who do you think we got to voice
Max
of the opposing armies? So yeah, look out for that in the next couple of weeks, listeners, as we tackle it.
I need to reach it. Max is really good about retweeting my stuff, and chiming in. I need to get him on to do like Creature Commandos or something.
That'd be amazing. Yeah, get Max. I love Max and Rich.
I got that Jeff Lemire Frankenstein agent of whatever, and it has some creature. Yeah. But they put it under Creature Commandos.
Yeah.
Trying to tag on him. I didn't care. It was worth a guy. I didn't have it. And I liked it. I read that book. I read the first couple issues and I just couldn't afford stuff. I liked it. Was weird. So
yeah. I've got a couple issues of that because I've got OMAC covers.
I almost bought an OMAC 6-inch figure. I found that I was on a mad figure. I was good. But I almost bought an OMAC. I was thinking I almost bought the OMAC trade back today. I was looking at the complete OMAC trade paperback.
Sure. Well, you should. It's great. I loved it.
I need to get more of that 70s Kirby because I'm loving it.
Yeah. Demon. I've had to read a lot of Doctor Who books for Power of 3 recently, so it's kind of got in the way of my comic reading. So I need to get back on the Demon. I was loving that. Anyway,
back to the page. We're on page 20, and we're almost about to see the bad guy.
Yeah. Well,
comics were longer back then, folks.
I know, and we often talk about how decompressed stuff's got nowadays, but this is packed plenty in before we even get to it.
Yeah, see, and that's what I go, is when people go, well, there's too much talking. There's not, but there's twice as much action.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's not big panel. Not every fight scene needs a double page spread or a single page spread you can do it with odd shapes. Yeah,
and they managed to get them out on a monthly basis. Jeff Johns.
Yeah, well, all of them, think about it. Even the best don't do a page a day. I'm like, you can't do a page a day?
No.
What the fuck? I don't understand. I don't understand that. If I got that little paperwork done, the amount of spread shit nonsense that I have to do and sending emails to people, if I didn't get 8 hours of work out of myself, it's ridiculous. It's crazy. It just drives me nuts. I'm that guy. Get off my lawn. I think some of the art is better because it's more detailed and they have time, and I appreciate that. But
no, you're right. Yeah, I mean, just go on with it. Just go on with it. Turn it out. We want to read it. So let's see what happens next.
Yeah,
I think it's saying that Todd's drawn the final issue of JSA because whoever else has been drawing it obviously couldn't keep up.
He's gone. He's gone. He's doing something. I think he got tired of waiting for scripts. What is it? Jannon's going. He's doing some of that absolute stuff.
Right.
They gave him another book. He's like, I got to eat. Give me work. Now I don't have time to do your book.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He knocks stuff out because he works with King. Tom King called.
Okay.
I mean, think all the stuff he's done with King. Miracle Man is Gerard, right? And Jannon, I think, Jannon's done a couple of his things. So I like Jannon, but I was saying it wasn't John's, but it was John's, I think.
Of course it was.
Yeah, it was. He's trying to build a new company and he bailed.
Same thing happened with Doomsday Clock. I mean, it's a perfect storm. Gary Frank takes ages to get everything detailed and all that sort of stuff as well,
Don't solicit until you're done.
Exactly.
Just, you'll just,
Yep.
if you want a paycheck for 12 comics, draw me 12 comics. When I have all of them in my hands, I will fucking pay you.
Yeah, that works. Oh, I agree with you, man. Anyway,
um,
proper,
but I like this sequence
proper
with,
page
he's
turner.
getting shot. I forgot he could get hurt. Firestorm.
Hmm. Yeah, I've always thought he was invulnerable.
Yeah, I think what it is if because he's not really flesh and bone, is he?
Oh,
Or is
no,
that something that's later
do you
that he's
remember?
all?
Do you remember when they killed him off in Identity Crisis?
Ugh.
And he got stabbed with Sir Justin's sword and all this sort of stuff. And I remember the first time I read it, sort of thinking, right, okay, this makes sense. But then I read some stuff on the message boards. I think people were saying that they'd gooned it. That was not how Firestorm worked. He wasn't like a walking nuclear container, reactor or anything like that. It was really quite.
Is that where? Okay, I'm reading Manhunter, and Mark
Yeah,
Draco.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
God, dude, reread it. If you haven't reread it, reread
I'm
it.
still
Oh,
missing a couple of issues of that.
oh, I didn't
Actually,
realize I didn't have the fifth trade. But thank God the last 8 issues are on the app. But
right.
Firestorm is killed by the Shadow Thief,
Oh,
and that's who becomes her big villain for the first series. And
yeah, right.
she's the DA trying him. But I don't remember when this Firestorm was dead because he's not. He comes back before the end of the arc.
Right. Which is it? Which Firestorm is it?
It's Ronnie because
Because they
Firehawk is at the court. She's one of the witnesses.
because they bring it's volume 3 that they bring Jason in, isn't it? They
Yeah,
call,
so it's sometime
call
during his 100 issue run,
right.
and I think it's before and he comes back as Firestorm. He doesn't come back as the avatar of whatever.
Yeah.
There's the green,
Well,
there's the blue, there's the ground. You know what I mean?
he's in Starman, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's in Starman quite soon, and that must be way after the end of the hundred issue ongoing.
What the Will Payton Starman during Invasion?
No, he's in one issue of the Jack books. Remember the one of the Mist and Justice League Europe?
Oh, I am about to get to that. That's coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So he's not the immortal god thing he becomes. That's
No.
later. No, that's
Yes,
that comes and gone. I think by the time we see him in Jack, that's come and gone.
I don't know enough about.
Yeah, I really didn't read a lot of that stuff during like Millennium and stuff when they were trying all these new things like Sentinel.
Ostrander and Mandrake were doing Firestorm for a while, weren't they? Shag Matthews listened to this and shouting at his
Fist. Why aren't you reading the right superheroes?
Sorry, Shag, if you're listening.
Sorry. I like the obscure.
Yeah.
I don't think Firestorm's obscure. I think Firestorm was a big character for about a decade.
Yeah, he just needs to be like anyone else. He just needs to be written by people that like him and don't want to dismantle him and rip him to bits and reinvent him.
He really, I feel he probably got hurt by reimagining it. So you didn't need to reimagine because the best part of it is Martin and Ronnie. So we get to see the fight, and the bad guy's now controlling the aircraft carrier.
Yep.
And Superman's okay. I haven't even Googled Kriss Kross. I've only seen him twice, and I don't remember where the second one was, but it was recently.
Or does he come back?
He was in another comic because I remember seeing him, and when he popped up in this, I went, "Oh, that's where this loser came from."
Oh, okay.
No
idea.
But
no idea.
It's a really weird. I mean, the name doesn't really mean anything other than he's got Kriss Kross stars, and he can absorb energy.
Is that not what was his name? What was the name of the guy?
I think his last name was Cross.
Yeah, it's to do with that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's playing on that. I can't remember how to tell you his name. Right, I couldn't remember. I knew there was one point in the. I thought it was one point in the story they told you. Yeah, there we go. Boys, and now your friend Cross. Don't call him my friend. I hardly knew the man yet. It's the guy, one of the guys at the FBI are interviewing Martin over. Yeah, I mean, he rocks up there and he looks like something out of like, with absolutely no disrespect, he looks like something out of an issue of Marvel 2-in-1, circa the Cadmus Project story, doesn't he? Not the Cadmus.
Oh, this is his first and only appearance.
Yeah, is it? All right.
Okay. I don't think he even got a Who's Who entry, probably.
Wow.
Yeah, creators, Gerry Conway, Rich Buckler.
Right.
His power is mechokinesis. The lightning caused his body to become fused with a high-tech equipment he was stealing and allowed him to somehow control technology from a distance. So, okay, so a Betamax was fused to his chest, and he now has the power to make broken shit run.
He has the power to record more than one TV channel at the same time. That'd be a useful power, honestly. Especially, didn't have that. They couldn't do that with video recorders back in the day, kids, if you're listening, You watched the channel and you recorded the channel you weren't watching. It was revolutionary.
And then you learned how to hook two VHSs together and make copies of stuff for friends.
Yes, because I've told the story many times on Power of Three how one of my friends at school suddenly realised he had episode 10 of Trial of a Time Lord on Betamax. So we hooked another friend at school, his dad was an accountant and was very rich, had a Betamax and a VHS. So he hooked him up and copied Trial of a Time Lord episode 10 for me.
Love it. Love it.
Like half of it went over in color, half of it in black and white.
Oh my God. Well, my brother, because I was living in Richmond, and Richmond has never had Doctor Who on its PBS channel or any channel.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really weird. But my brother was typing all the omnibus, so I bought two VHSs when I didn't realize. I mean, I had a good job. I was working for Xerox. I was making okay change. And I got two, and he gave me a box of Doctor Who, and I bought the tapes and went, this one will fit on that one. This one will these two. So I had to, and then one day, my Doctor Who episode guide that the first one that went all the way through McGann by John Lockmeyer, and by each title is what VHS tape it was on.
Amazing.
I had to know because it was one of the first shows I would rewatch over and over again.
Of course.
All right. But there's some great stuff. He's not the best villain in the world. And I don't think this is so backdoor pilot.
Yes.
It's all about Ronnie and just to show you what Ronnie can do.
Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. It's building up, it's that cute scene when he gets Superman's secret identity, that's sort of significant. All the scenes where Martin's being interviewed, he's kind of important to everything that's going on. He's not just kind of frozen out of the narrative. No, you're right. It's it's a backdoor pilot for a series that's already been commissioned. So
I know. Well, it's going to get you. You're going to look for it on the stands because what year was this? 80 what?
82.
What? I'm a junior in high school.
I'm
17 years old.
Right. I'm nearly 9 when this goes out.
And so I would have bought this from the comic shop on Route 1 where I would do, but my brother probably would come in. He would come in and goes, how do you get free comics? I'm a kid and they don't want to put the comics in the bins. So if I put the comics in bin for 3 days, I get 10% or 50% off my comics. One time I got $100 worth of comics because my mother did not believe me that my eardrum had burst.
Oh, God.
And then when blood and pus came out of it, I was a good 14-year-old. I'm a bitch. On the way back from the doctor's office, you buy me. I'm paying some comics. My brother just looked at me. You blackmailed her. Yeah, I did. We have an Irish mother who doesn't. She was raised Catholic. Guilt works. Use it.
Yeah.
Pride.
Yeah. Feel the guilt.
She does it to us. Might as well use it again. But I do like this. That he's taken out of the action by the bad guy.
Yeah, exactly. So that Ronnie can step up. You're right. It's a showcase. It's a tryout for Firestorm. But Supes recovers a little bit. Mm-hmm. Tries to kind of gets involved and distracts Kriss Kross enough so that Ronnie can fly up and interfere with the satellites and stop the signal.
And he explains his powers.
Yeah.
My body fused with high-tech equipment I was smuggling, and somehow we became one.
Yes.
I'm watching an old Golden Girls right now. Oh, wait a minute. I discovered I could reach out through the wiring of this ship and reach beyond the ship.
He was smuggling very advanced technology because you have to remember Russia didn't have Betamax video recorders in the early 80s.
No, they were just pirating I Love Lucy's and stuff still.
Yeah, he had a Betamax video recorder stuffed in his jacket, and his pockets were filled with toilet rolls.
I'd love to see a Russian sitcom from like the before the wall fell,
Yeah.
just to see how bad it is. Like, what the fuck? There are no lines, remember. uh,
No offense. No offense to any of our Russian listeners.
no. We're making fun of your bad leaders back then. I feel sorry for your bad leader now is way worse than the bad leaders when I was a kid. And I was afraid of nuclear war.
Yeah.
Woo. But I do, there's some really great panels. I like the very Neil Adams face, or that's a very Rick Buckler face. You're going to see that a lot in All-Star Squadron.
Yeah.
I
like the top of page 24 of Ronnie zapping all the satellites. That's a cracker.
Yeah, it is.
It's interesting he can operate. Interesting the flame on his head is still burning out in space.
Yeah, I mean, I never understood what the flaming hair is. It radioactive flame? Yeah. Are you giving people cancer?
I know that they must have done in a Firestorm story at one point.
Have you ever turned into Firestorm while you're kissing your girlfriend and then burned off her eyebrows?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, it's some good action. I like it. And then Superman gets a knockout punch. Why not?
Yeah, of course. Well, it's his comic, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a cracking knockout punch. It's a beauty. Ronnie's done the satellites and Clark just takes him out. I mean, Clark's not perfect in it. His arms look a bit weird and his backside.
He's got a green left arm when he's punching the guy in the digital copy.
Well, you were saying about Ronnie not being colored properly. Clark's left wrist is left white in the original, in the first panel of the last page.
Oh, but I like that they have that cute little moment where Ronnie turns into the two people behind the file cabinet. No one sees it except Superman.
Yes, that's great. Yeah, and Martin reappears, and the FBI guy is going nuts. That's brilliant. That's a nice little. Yeah, it's a very, Lost in Space, Star Trek, OG.
Well, there they go, ha ha ha, and then freeze.
Yeah, or police or something. Yeah, it's great.
I loved it. Oh, and the next issue is the Global Guardians. Ooh, really?
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I know. On the pad, it went.
So another one. There's a few. Obviously, there's quite a few DCPs that Peter and I will be doing. Hi, Pete, if you're listening. Because we'll be doing like the Airwave one and the Dr. Fate ones, and we'll be doing all whatever. We'll be doing all those.
Yeah, when I was looking through, and I mentioned this to Pat at Velocity Comics, so I plugged for Velocity Comics, Richmond, Virginia folks. That I'd pulled these, and most of the selections that were up for the vote were Alex Savick.
All right.
And I'm not a big.
I'm
not the biggest Alan Savick fan sometimes. I think when he's inked well, he's great. And when he draws Spider-Man, I'm okay with it.
Did you just sort of pick them at random?
I had a randomizer. Yes, I did. I took out the numbers that I've already covered because I've covered the Levitt, Starlin, Prince Gavin.
Sure.
I did that before I even did the rest of the Prince Gavin. And I did Doom Patrol by Giffen. Right. So yeah, I did a randomizer, and
there's a lot of fun. There is a lot of fun to be had, with these sort of 70s and 80s Brave and the Bold and DC Comics Presents, because sometimes you get quite a deep, you'll get something like a character like Nemesis getting, or Rose and Thorn.
Yeah, I think they really pick good characters sometimes, like the Guardians of the Globe or Gold. No, I'm sorry, that's Invincible.
I think what you said earlier on is right, that DC Comics Presents is much more Marvel team up, and I think Brave and the Bold is much more 2-in-1.
Yeah, because 2-in-1 would have darker stories.
Yeah,
they did Marvel. I like that Marvel did arcs. The Levitt Starlin stuff kind of ties together.
Sure,
because of Mongol.
Yeah, there's the Supergirl Martian Manhunter Spectre story, isn't there?
Yeah, and it's you forget that Levitt's created Mongol.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's right.
Well, I was listening to was it you I was listening to where on the one I just listened to. Oh yeah, that Levitz was writing the Aquaman after Spectre. I forgot that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
And that's good Aquaman.
and he's Mike Grell's drawing it. It looks amazing. I've got a few of those. I picked up a couple more of them recently. No, not Mike Grell. It's a Paro.
It's a Paro, yeah, it's a Paro.
Did Mike Grell draw Aquaman? Or I imagine
He did a couple of. I think he did some. I think, but it's not that. But that's a Paro because it's basically the same artist.
You know, because they bring Arthur back into Adventure Comics, and then he gets his own book for like half a dozen issues, and it just stops again. Then he goes back into Adventure Comics, and and Clark Jr. Superboy gets Adventure Comics for a few issues. Towards the end of Superboy and the Legion. Adventure Comics is so messy. I love it.
I do too. It's because I've read it different times. I was telling my buddy Ken yesterday, because you had just covered that. I listened to it. I was talking about it, and it's not. I did one up for Billy on Magazines and Monsters. We did one, and it's not suitable for fucking children.
No.
And my brother handed it to me when I was like 8 or 9. And it was inappropriate. It's not the most inappropriate thing he ever handed me, but it's great. And we were talking before. I bid on one. I've got like 2 more days, and I don't think I'll get it. I raised the bid. I lost a bid on something real cheap, so I added another $10 to the Wrath of Spectre omnibus. But it's got all that in it, so I can read it. It's really readable. It is really rereadable. The
thing that Steve and I have found, is that reading about it now, and people really didn't seem to like it.
I don't understand that.
Good positive letters about it. But the thing we sort of found is just, we were amazed, Steve more so, I think, than I, that so much of it was approved by the Comic School Authority, because it's vicious.
It's not. It shouldn't have been. I don't know. I think because it was an obscure character in an anthology book, they didn't give a shit. Yeah. And we didn't show blood. We did in silhouette. The kids have an imagination. I mean, because I find it gruesome, but in the right way. It's
not gory.
It's not gory at all. It's terrifying. It allows your imagination to see the follow through, and that they die horrible ways, like the giant ducky. I forgot about the giant ducky.
Yeah, God, that was hilarious.
What a way to go out.
Yeah, that was like I remember reading that one and just being like, wow. And then like a page later, he grabs the car and throws it into space. It's one extreme to the other. It's really all over the place. Yes, listeners, we've been covering the 70s run of the Spectre and Adventure Comics.
Yeah, folks, there are only 2 podcasts that I always remember to post when I listen, and it's Dave and Pete's Earth 2 podcast. I sometimes listen to it before Dave. Most times I listen to it before Dave, because I'm getting up on Thursday at 5:30 in the morning, and I'm putting in my dentures and taking my meds and getting ready for work. Listen to Dave and Pete act out comic books for my entertainment on my way to work.
Because yesterday, I woke up yesterday. You quote because
I went to work at like 4:30 in the morning one day. That was Wednesday. So yesterday that was the day I went in at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, because you quote tweeted, you're like spooky. I was like, man, I haven't even started it yet. The same thing happened a couple of weeks ago. No, it's funny. It's good because because Steve and I had recorded these ones ages ago. It was like way back in July, before I started the big job down in Troon at the golf tournament. It was Steve and I recorded those, and we had a lot of fun doing it. We did one last week. I think I mentioned this already. We did one last week. We'll be out in about 6 weeks, which I think will turn out really well once Peter edits out all the swearing and the mistakes. I won't tell you what it is unless I've told you already. I'm not going to tell you again because it's a surprise.
I can't wait, because I don't know what you're doing. Like with that Superman you just did, which I kind of went and looked at it.
Yeah,
I've never heard. I don't remember that one. I'd ever read that one.
Yeah, that was. I'd seen the cover somewhere and thought, oh, that kind of riffs on the whole thing of like tuning into parallel realities and like Barry's and Barry being on Earth 1 and that tuning into Earth 2 and Barry reading the comics. And it wasn't like it didn't really fall into remit at all, but it was an interesting one. it was just we've got some other ones coming up. We're going to do a couple of issues. Mandy.
Oh, really? I had my hand on Commandy Volume. I got to get that Kirby stuff. Oh, I got to get. Yeah. I got to at least read it.
We're going to do the Commandy that has Superman's costume on the cover.
You got to do that. I thought of that a while back. I was like, when you mentioned some other Kirby stuff, I went, I hope they do Commandy, at least the costume one, because that's a classic.
We're going to do that because it's the whole. It lets us talk about the different futures because we've already had the Legion turn up and all that. And then, of course, we'll do the Karate Kid Commandy crossover.
Oh, my God. I forgot about that.
I've already got 4 foreign covers for that to put on the socials.
Of a Karate Kid. Oh, my God.
Yeah, I'll send you them.
Oh, yeah, let me see them because I remember as a kid, I really didn't like the Karate Kid comic.
Really?
Well, I think I was older when it was coming out, and I went, "What is this? This isn't him in the past. It's not." Sure. They were trying to do Shang-Chi. I think Shang-Chi was taken off, and Iron Fist and Deadly Hands of Kung Fu, and I just think DC never got a good Kung Fu character.
Yeah, because they did Richard Dragon around the same time, didn't they?
Yeah, they did as many as they could freaking do.
Let me work this out. No, are you still well, you're not too far away from the Karate Kid series starting. Are you going to be doing that? Yeah.
I'll have to look because I really I skipped 199, forgot all about it.
Right.
When I said, Kirby, I'm getting to 200. Let's do Bouncing Boy and Dual Damsels Wedding. It's a great comic. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And it's the last. It's kind of like the last. It and the 201 is the last Cockrum. So we did it all as one. So now I need to do 199, and I talked to Jimbo, who's been on forever, and we're going to do 199 first tier.
Yeah.
And 203, which is the death of, it's not a 100-page giant. It's one of it's a 100-page, 900-page, and it's the death of the Invisible Kid.
Yeah. I'm still angry about that.
I see. I'm sorry. I'm a Jacques.
No, Lyle's my guy. He's he's top 5 Legionnaires for me. I love him.
Oh, I think he's one of the. I think if you want to talk about characters that are written well as leader of the Legion, it's him, Dream Girl, Polar Boy.
Yeah, that's fair.
Even though he was flawed, I think Element Lad's good at it. I find, but the others are Saturn Girl.
Mm-hmm. No,
at the very beginning,
because they did some. It was one of the things, and 5 years later when they brought the SW6 back, and obviously they brought him back.
Yeah,
and he was quite prominent in the reboot. And when Legion of Three Worlds came out, I was the one thing that one of the few things that disappointed me about it was that Lyle was kind of sidelined. He should have been up front with Brainy doing all the clever talk, but they kind of missed him out. I was really always pleased that he got a second run at it.
Yeah. Well, I think that was good about you got a different Starboy in that and stuff like that. And, I just one of my I had read all that Legion as it was coming out. I started with 197 with Timberwolf. So when I got to Levin Giffen, as much as I love the Conway stuff, and I will, and I muddled through where it was, there was some great Legion in there. There's just pretty much from where Broderick's the main artist.
Sure.
Given's about this from wherever that is with it's firing on all cylinders. And as someone who's been reading Legion as long as I have, my favorite Legionnaires are Flock, Invisible Kid, Element Lad, White Witch. I love Dreamy when she's written well.
Yeah.
I think in Wade's she's written well. She's a good character in Wade's. I think and they when they bring them back, it's like I'm reading that Justice League Unlimited. It's Brainy in the whatever the last comic was in the retro boot. Brainy had been leader and he left and she became leader. And that's where that continues from. And it's like, of course she would be the leader because she's one of the best leaders.
Yeah. And she got that whole, pre-call powers. I mean, who are my favorite Legionnaires? Joe, Tenzel, Rock, Lyle, Monel. I love Dawn Star. I really like Richard Kent Shakespeare.
I do too. And we should be rich. There should be a descendant of but you want to think I think he should be a distant relation. And he has his powers for total. What were his powers? His superhero name was Impulse.
Yeah, which was amazing. Which was before, obviously, the Wally West, before Bart was introduced in the Flash, which was amazing because it meant that, Impulse became a legacy name, oofed. I think he just has sort of generic sort of speed and strength. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think he's smart. He's a scientist.
Yeah.
And he had
has his glasses on.
I love it. It's a great character design.
Yeah, a lot.
The best things of 5 years later is Kono. I like her.
Yes.
I like Kent's maker, and I like Devin. He's a moron.
Yeah, he's a
great sidekick, and he's got a great costume.
Yeah.
Where's it? I think that star is from something else. Because doesn't he ever wear a green sweater with the yellow star with the black circle behind it?
It's a bit Red Star. It's a bit Starman.
Oh, it's very Red Star. I didn't think about that.
I don't know if that's what it's supposed to be. Anyway.
But yes,
it's getting late. I'm gonna vamoose.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Pleasure.
All right, everybody, check out Earth 2 podcast. It is well worth it. Start at the beginning. It's a joy. You'll breeze through it.
Thank you.
All right.
A lot of fun doing it. And Ross, thank you. It's my first appearance in Stop Let's Team Up. Amazing.
Yeah.
I'll come back.
Well, we got other things I want. There's some stuff I want you to come on, and we do want to do our piss and moan about JSA.
Yes.
Let's figure that out.
Yeah, that'd be a laugh. That'd be a lot of fun.
All right, folks.
Get there.
Be safe, be smart. Please be kind to one another, and read some DC Comics Presents.
Yeah.